How high can XRP really go? This is an interesting question which majority try to answer in different ways. Great, fine. But I would actually suggest you to listen carefully because the answer here should be logical and it should be supported by the price action. So if you are looking at different ideas, you get $10. Some say it can be $100. Some even suggest it can be $1,000, $10,000, sky high numbers. So what is it really going to be? It is interesting to know that. But before you actually dive into these, you also have to understand it goes hand in hand with the time frame, your window. If you are looking on a 4-hour chart saying, I only have 3 weeks for this, you're not looking for $100, $1,000. You are looking for this price action, and these would be your targets, right? I posted this yesterday early before we started breaking out, and then what happened? The price broke higher, we started moving up. So yes, your target is still valid. You will have a retest and bounce towards it. So that is if your time frame is too short. Now, if you are having a little bit more time, what you can do is zoom out, go into the chart, the same stuff, the same item. Now you have another breakout for which the target would be a little bit higher than that. So again, it depends on your time horizon. So what's happening here? Your momentum is increasing. You can see that with the trend change in the MACD and the double bottom, which was shown in the RSI previously. Then you broke higher in RSI. You got that move. Now you are trending higher. So it completely depends on what? Your time frame. So as you move back and say, okay, I'm looking at last 6 months, I'm looking at last 1 year, I have next 6 months, I have next year, that's where you are looking for the targets, not just numbers, right? So this is what we are going to do today and see how high we really think this can go in next impulse, next wave. That's what we are going to do today and deliver you some important news to understand, because this is turning in different direction. You look at the crypto market, some says we are going down, it's a bear market. Some suggest no, we are going up, there's a bull market. So what is it? And that will completely depend on how XRP is going to move. Because if there is a requirement for a neutral asset and it goes in, that's changing the entire narrative. So let's dive into that. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Here you definitely need to understand, right now things are changing, right? The sanctions, finance is getting all sorts of trouble. So right now you look at this, Switzerland, Singapore, Japan, all of them are joining the sanctions, which would, most likely, now I'm not pro-war or pro-Russia, but what I'm saying is, Russia, China, India, these guys are already there in the BRICS nations where they are trying to come out with a new payment system, which is an alternative. Now, understand this, when the billionaire guys are giving you some hint, listen to it first, then do your research and validate it. And some of these are really interesting because here, you get that perspective. It's not only going to be the El Salvador, it's also going to spread across as the sanctions, weaponizing that payment tool is existing. Other countries, the liberal, the neutral countries are like, okay, I don't want to be screwed by one nation saying I'm the world leader or any group suggesting the same. So that is a possibility we are looking at right now. Swiss city. Now, when you see this, you'll say, okay, it's just one city doing this. Go back in time and look what happened in El Salvador. It was one small city starting to do that. I think there was one female a writer, I actually forgot her name. She was talking about this and put out a great article about that in detail. And that literally happened, in the entire country. So this is another possibility. They are recognizing, they're not, completely moving to that currency instead of their fiat. They're making it a legal tender. So you can use it. But, the use case will come later. You're going to buy a coffee, you wait 10 minutes, your coffee is cold, you're like, okay, maybe I need an alternative to this. Fine. But the rate of adoption is increasing, and with the current negativity in the economy, negativity in the everything, because right now you have an everything bubble, you are looking for something where you can store your value. You're looking for something where you are like, okay, I'm comfortable putting my money in this. Not only retailers, but big guys, big money. So Bitcoin may be maturing into global digital collateral. Now, why am I highlighting this? Go back to this and look at this. We are just $2 trillion right now, and you see a lot of people saying, okay, crypto reaching 2 trillion, it's impossible. Back in the days, we were around 200 billion and people were saying this. Now you reached that target. Now when we say 20 trillion, people would stand against you and say, nah, that's never going to happen. If you have time, stay in the market, watch what's going to happen. This is coming. The institutional herd is already here. Just slowly it's impacting. Look at last 2 years, how governments printed what amount of fiat currencies around the globe, and you'll understand this is coming in. And that literally takes us to where we are going with this. XRP. If that's going to be the neutral asset, utility is going to be there burning the supply. That's really interesting. The supply go down, use case, the demand goes up, the price skyrockets. So where can it actually go? On a short term, yes, you're only looking for $1 because this is your pattern where you are looking for a breakout. And as it break out, you're looking for $1, fine, because you have these indicators suggesting you this can literally happen. Look at the MACD. And you all know this, right? First time it tried, it doesn't usually break higher. Even if it breaks, it come back down. So, yep, you got an example here. You kind of slowed up, then you slowed once, and then broke higher. So you go into a 12-hour, 4-hour, you get that clarity. Or you look at the RSI, you see once it tried, failed, come back, and then bounced. Now it's the same again. Once, twice, and now you're going to test that again. And if you break in the MACD, you are going higher. So that's short term. Now, if you are looking at this pattern, you are like, okay, fine, there is a potential that this can be moving to the upside. Now you see this pattern in a lot of different assets in this asset class, and we are like, okay, fine, there are a lot of assets which literally shows ability to make money. Now, if you remember, we actually did our thought process back in days talking about, altcoin market would be doing this. And I'm still sticking to this because if this is happening, the numbers thrown out there for XRP can sometimes be much tinier than you anticipate. And if things go well, but we are trying to be optimistic and realistic. So right now, when you focus, you're first looking at $3. We need to reach there. We need to actually cross that level and then come to this one. Because this is a monthly chart of XRP. And the monthly chart of XRP, you're watching a clear rounded bottom where you are having touches all across the board in that trend. Great. You had the highest volume in all of this. This is important, guys. You have the highest volume here in all of this at this price point, not at $3.8, but while you were going towards $2 mark. So yes, that's a valid resistance right now. And that's your neckline. So you measure this, you get 15x to the upside. You got that? So from that $2 mark when you're breaking, you are moving towards 15x. Fine. So what's it going to be? The highest possible range is going to be 34. Now, if you put the wave structure inside that, now the number is a little bit different. Now it varies here and there because the average in crypto market can definitely vary. But as it varies, you're going to also see these corrections. So if you are going to be in the market and you see the price going to $3, definitely understand you're going to also get 50-60% correction. And after that, it will definitely continue to the upside again. And you're like, oh no, it didn't reach my targeted level. Then again, it come back down way to this level of support, because each time the price goes up, it come back to a level of support. And once it reached there, it bounced to this range. This is what I expect for wave 2. Now, that is how high I think it's going to do in wave 2, because we are looking at the market cycle, but we are looking at this part of the cycle where you are watching at this corrective angle moving towards this. Now, understand when we say rounded bottom, a lot of people are like, okay, that's a pattern. Rounded bottom, what is it? Here, you are getting more supply than demand. People are selling, shorting. Okay, there's a difference between that. Some are selling to take profit. Some are just shorting the market. Then here you are kind of having a neutrality where, sellers, buyers, it's kind of matching up. People who are selling and the other side, buyers are absorbing that supply. So it's not pushing the price lower. From here, it changes. The dynamics changes. Supply is there, fine, but absorption is higher. So to get more supply, price is going higher to this range of supply. It's coming to absorb that. So this is a rounded bottom. Technically, yeah, it's just rounded bottom. But you go look at the supply, demand, the economics behind it. This is what's happening. That means, yes, this is also possible as the supply drains and people come down to this point. Okay, I don't think this is going to happen. At $3, $4, they're going to short the market. Their stop loss would be somewhere here. The market goes through, kick them out, create liquidity. They go back down. People are like, okay, it's done. It's going. They will short. Their stop loss would be here. You go high, kick them out. So this happens all the time. So this narrative of XRP not doing anything has to be kicked out. Now, within this one, you also have to recognize history repeats itself. So if you are just taking this pattern, putting it here, then, without scaling it, moving it somewhere here and say, this is what you are anticipating. That's like $400, which is massive. I'm not saying we are going to reach there. I'm saying we can reach there, but not in this cycle. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but given this timeline, it's going to be really hard. But there is a possibility for this, which is, the green light. If the amount in escrow is somehow being burned, 50% of the XRP supply is burnt. Imagine that. The demand is skyrocketing. That means we are going to go much higher. So this can be possible in that scenario. Otherwise, this should be scaled. Meaning, that stuff here, you may actually scale that. The time taken to reach there can be much, much longer. That is a huge possibility. Now, I'm not saying, it's going to fluctuate as similar as it did previously. But I'm saying, yes, there is a possibility it can go higher. But next time it reaches the overhead resistance here in this particular line, it can be next cycle too. I don't think we are possibly reaching $1,000 in this cycle. To do that, you will have to reach around $100 in wave 2, which based on what we have just watched here is not the possibility. In wave 2, you are most likely be in $20 to $30, that range. So I don't think you are reaching $100 in wave 2, which kind of neutralizes your thought process towards $1,000. Now, that's not bad for asset right now, which is below $100, but having a ton of possibility. Now, when you talk about possibility, you come into the market, you see a lot of opportunities. Like the same call here for XRP, we also had other calls. Say, Chili's was one of them, saying this is a possible double bottom. If you're breaking out there, you are going much higher. So as you go, you are looking at these targets, fine. You can also look at that. And when the price retests, it's a buying opportunity. You go look at that now and you see this. Yes, you had that double bottom. You got that bullish divergence in MACD. Then RSI confirmed it. Now you're waiting for a breakout in RSI. So technicals do help you a lot. Now what are you observing for the entire altcoin market? It's an inverse head and shoulder. If that plays out, all those bears who are hanging out, barely hanging out right now, with a breakout, as you just watched in Chili's, you're going to get this. Because this is a reversal pattern, inverse head and shoulder. Now, if you zoom even out, zoom out, you have long time frame, you are like a macro bull in this market. This is a continuation pattern for you. Then you're not going to short this in any way. You are just observing like, okay, this is a pattern where it's being reaccumulated before the next run higher, which is the wave 2, which is the macro wave 2, which we have talked like this. So if you are in the market at that point, yes, you're definitely going to enjoy the profits, which are going to be, flooded into all these different assets. So if you want these kind of updates on a regular basis, as I put it, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where you get massive value for your money. And yes, you get to do one-on-one session with me, talking about your portfolio, what is the risk, if you are a fundamental investor, a risky investor, and your individuality as an investor. And that helps you to be prepared for what's coming next. So as we talk about all this, understand things are changing, and especially for XRP, it's a massive change. Look at this. PayPal has suspended all services in Russia. That's a payment service. It should be neutral, but this is happening right now. Then it's a turning point in monetary history. Watch how things are going to evolve in next month, 2, 3. You literally will observe that this is happening. Zange, which had connection with the United Nations, all those stuff, it is happening. Wrath of Kahneman tweeted this one out, and read this. All of them moving towards green, sustainable stuff with the payments and all. It's happening. Carbon credits, it's happening, the green, sustainable stuff. And then you come to payments, and they tweeted this one out. Now, they talk about next in payments and commerce, and they are highlighting, bypass financial messaging service SWIFT. Now, bypass them means what? It doesn't mean you're bypassing legality. The endpoints are all regulated institutions. So that's happening. Now, why am I highlighting these again and again? The inflation on the other end is going to kill you if you don't understand assets, if you don't understand investing. You put your money into the banks, you lose your purchasing power on a regular basis. If you want to take that, it's up to you. Remember, guys, we are all in this to make money, not to lose it. So when these guys say, make sure you understand what's happening behind it. Is there a different narrative? Like, inflation is good. You're going to pay more when you only have around, here George actually highlighted that in the bottom. Average American has less than $500 in his bank account. Even assume it's 1,000, double that. Are you going to donate for the war happening there? If you're doing that, that's completely fine. But think, if there is an emergency, medical emergency, what will you do for your family, right? So you first take care of your loved ones, and then try to draw an even bigger circle and put others in. So first you need to ensure you're in a safe position, right? So that is why we are talking investing. It can be any investment vehicle which you like. You can choose any race horse for this race in your life. But make sure you understand what is happening in the market. Because I try to give my perspective all the time so that you guys are well educated before you take that calculated guess of moving into this. I give my thoughts here, and if it's useful for you, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. And guys, if you receive value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Because I'm like, okay, you got 2,000, 5,000 views and literally just 100, 200 likes. Okay, so if you're watching this and you think it's valuable for you, please do hit that like button. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.